Well, hey everybody, it's Outland. Welcome to another episode, and I have a really special guest on the show today, and I'm very excited to talk to him. I've been following this guy for a while, and just love his channel, love the stuff he's putting out. So, real excited today to have a very special guest. We're talking to PaleoHikerMD, Ernie.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
It's going awesome, man. How are you? I'm good. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of weird. You know, you got the one thing that this whole coronavirus has done is we suddenly do a lot more of this stuff because you can't meet in person. So you open up these ideas like, hey, we can just meet virtually, you know, and it works.
Yeah, it's cool that we have all this technology to be able to do this stuff for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. So you're an MD, right? So how are you holding up with all of this?
Yeah, I do internal medicine and I do sleep medicine. It's about 50-50 now. So board certified in both. And it's been an interesting year. I work in the hospital every day and at the office. So I kind of do what they call traditional internal medicine. So I don't just do the hospital or just do the office. And yeah, it's been challenging. I'm partner in a multi-specialty group. We run ourselves. So it's been a lot financially keeping things going and just relearning kind of how to do things. We've done a lot more of this, done telemedicine, which we never did before. And just learning about a new disease and how to take care of it. It's been challenging, but interesting.
Yeah. So do you see things getting better or worse, or?
No, I think with vaccination, things will get better. You know, I think that the numbers on our end, Louisiana I'm in central Louisiana, early on, we had very high numbers in Louisiana, mainly New Orleans was just a hotbed. We didn't have it tremendously bad where I am. It's picked up a little bit, then it kind of lulled off, and then it picked up again the last couple of months, which isn't surprising given the winter and just the flu season in general. But it's getting better. And I think that more and more people are getting vaccinated. And when you get that vaccine and you really can kind of pretty much protect yourself from infection, I think it's going to make a huge difference. And hopefully we can start losing masks and seeing families again and all that stuff.
Yeah, man, that'll be amazing to be able to be a little bit somewhat normal again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the vaccine. It's I'm 46, so I'm down the totem pole. So
yeah, well, we got it. We got the Pfizer vaccine. It was approved on a Sunday night, and our hospital had it Monday morning, and we got it Monday at 6 p.m. All my partners did, and we've had both shots now. The second shot was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I do have antibodies. Tested my antibodies here at the office, and yeah, it's interesting. I still wear my mask and all that, but you do feel better knowing that you shouldn't catch it. My wife and my daughter both had it and got through it no problem, thankfully. So, but it does help. People out there are a little nervous about the vaccine. Second vaccine definitely felt a little crummy, but lasted about 24 hours. And now, I should be immune for the time being, at least for probably 6 to 8 months.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to 2021 here being much better. So
yeah, different. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I've been following you on YouTube for a while. So how long have you been doing YouTube, man?
I think my first video was January of 2015. So been about 6 years, I think. Yeah. It's pretty long time. Over 500 videos on YouTube. So
man, 500.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the name PaleoHikerMD? I'm curious.
Well, interesting. When I first started doing stuff in 2014, I actually had a blog called Paleolithic MD. I'd gotten into the paleo diet, low carb diet. And initially was that. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I just had a blog. And then I did that for like 6 or 9 months. It took a lot of time and effort. Writing blog posts and researching and trying to be as scientific as I could be. And then I don't know, I started watching a lot of YouTube. As a kid, I'd spent a lot of time in the woods, and everybody in Louisiana spends a lot of time in the woods. That's what we got. And used to spend a lot of time out back, chopping trees down, building forts, having fun with my friends. And I'd hiked some, through college, but nothing major. And then I just kind of got the bug. I started watching, shows like MCQ Bushcraft and Joe Robinette, and kind of got into all that stuff. And all of a sudden I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this Paleolithic MD anymore. I'm going to do a YouTube channel, and I'm going to change it up and call it PaleoHikerMD and see what happens. In fact, my first few videos, it was just HikerMD, but that changed pretty quickly because I already had the logo, and I kind of messed with the logo and fixed it up. That's how it started.
Yeah, I like your logo. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
But the patches are really sweet.
Yeah, I got a new one coming out. Cool too. It's gonna be pretty awesome too. I'll shoot you one of each whenever I get the second one. I'll get your address. I'll shoot it to you. They're pretty cool.
Oh, sweet, man. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I love that. So so I'm a Midwesterner, so I'm up here in Ohio. So, and you were talking about this, I think, on your live stream the other night, but because you're being down there in Louisiana, so you're pretty warm most of the year. But it's cool, like getting your perspective of being down there and then compared to up here.
Yeah.
In Ohio, I think we're going to be 22 below zero the next day or two.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it's just maybe, I don't know, 70 degrees off of what we are here.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you, come July, it's so hot. And so humid that, this is where I'm from. This is where I grew up. This is a nice place to raise a family. My wife and I like it, but I wouldn't mind a little more cold every once in a while, a little more seasons. We got like 2 seasons here. It's hot or it's cold. That's it.
Right. What's the coldest it's gotten down there?
Oh, I mean, we've gotten, I remember it getting close to zero a couple of times.
Oh, really?
Last year we had a snap of in the teens for about a week, and that really affects us because our houses aren't necessarily built to withstand freezing, and a lot of pipes freeze, and you got to let my house actually sits up off the ground. It's not even on a foundation. So the pipes are all exposed. So I just leave everything dripping at night so it doesn't freeze, because otherwise you're going to run into problems. Yeah,
I know. I used to travel a lot for work down to Florida, and of course, I was looking forward to going down there in the winter because it was so cold up here in Ohio. And then I went down there and it was like 20 something. It was like a weird cold snap that they were having. And it's like nobody was prepared for it. They're like, we went to Disney once and it was like 25 degrees. Like, what is going on? And like the first 2 days, like we're riding the rides and it's freezing, it's crazy. Man. Yeah. And they're trying to dig out like blankets out of, like the hotel. They're like, well, we might have some extra somewhere. You don't even know where those are. But I'm like, oh my gosh. It's cold every year. Every year we'll have a day where, we'll get a snow flurry. It never sticks. It'll stick like every 5 or 6 years, I mean, it's literally, and of course, if 2 flakes fall, it's like shut everything down. Schools are shut down. Roads are shut down. I trained in Massachusetts. We used to get 100 inches of snow a year. Like you guys get a lot of snow. And so it's just normal. Yeah. It's very different here though. Yeah. So you're used to it though. In some way. I can adapt for sure. That's cool. So what are your favorite places around you that you go hiking and camping? Where do you like to go? It's interesting. I don't know. And I'll tell you why, because for years, I'm very close to a town called Woodworth in Louisiana, and there's a trail called the Wild Azalea Trail, which is actually the longest continuous trail in Louisiana. It's about 24, 25 miles. And that's where I've done almost all my filming over the years. Lots of videos along the Wild Azalea. I'll usually go out. There's 6 or 7 trailheads you can stop at all between, and I'll head out on the trail. And I've got my little spots where I get off trail and shoot my videos. But Hurricane Laura came through this last year. There were 700,000 acres of Louisiana forest completely toppled. I mean, just toppled. You take a town like Lake Charles, Louisiana, they said 75% of the trees were knocked down in the whole city. Yeah, I mean, wow. So it's changed. I went out and hiked a couple of places where I'd gone hundreds of times, and I would have sworn I was on a different trail. It was amazing. So my favorite place is the Wild Azalea Trail. There's also a place near me called the Backbone Trail, which is in Kisatchie,
hills, wilderness area. And it's my favorite backpacking, overnight trip here in Louisiana. It's very much like Arkansas. You don't even feel like you're in Louisiana. So it's kind of crazy. So those are the two main places that I go. Sweet. But it has been affected by the storms this year tremendously.
Yeah, you got affected by that personally, right? With your
I did. I mean, the first storm came through and it was a wind event. And I'll tell you, I went through a Category 5 hurricane in Puerto Rico once when I was in med school. But I was in a concrete, apartment and, nothing. I didn't own anything. My wife wasn't even on the island at the time. And now I'm in a house up off the ground. I got 2 kids, we have about 10 acres. And the wind was amazing. We lost, quite a few shingles, and we lost 2 or 3 really big trees. Thankfully, nothing landed on the house, but countless trees. And then afterward, Laura, or I don't remember what it's called, Alpha or something. We ran out of letters this year. So they got into the Greek alphabet. But it came through, and initially it was a water event, not a wind event. And our house is in a relatively low area, and our yard flooded big time, the most it's ever flooded by any means. In fact, talking to my patients, some of the old timers said they'd never seen it flood like that. And my shop, which is kind of my YouTube hub, got about 2 feet of water in it. So luckily I saved everything. I saw the water coming up and I was home and I pulled everything up. And then in my wood shop, I got all my tools. I really didn't lose much other than the actual shop, because it's pretty much just ruined. So it was an old rickety kind of shop. I loved it, but it's time to build a new one. So we're in the process. The new PaleoHikerMD layer will be much nicer and pretty awesome. So that's in the works right now.
Sweet. Well, that's exciting.
So you take a negative, you turn it into a positive.
Yeah. I've never been through a hurricane, but we actually had one come up through Ohio a few years ago. It was Ike. And that was just the residuals of it. And man, we had 75 mile an hour sustained winds here, and you don't see stuff like that very normally.
Yeah, so we had between 60 and 70 mile an hour sustained winds at our house for about 12 hours. I mean, I didn't even know that a storm could get this far inland. I mean, I'm 150 miles inland, or more. I didn't know you could get that, that far in. When it hit us, it was still like a Category 2. So
wow, that's crazy. Yeah. It's really scary.
But I'll tell you, our family was blessed compared to many people. I mean, so many people have severe damage, trees in the house. I mean, there's trees everywhere in Louisiana, and they're close to the homes, and a lot of houses got really damaged.
Yeah, you guys have those really old big trees. It's so
oh yeah, absolutely. And we didn't have power at our house for, I think, 14 days. I think it took to get it back. Yeah. So yeah, it was an adventure.
Man. So every time there's a hurricane coming towards the Gulf, you kind of have an eye up, oh gosh, okay. Or is it just,
it kind of stinks, because it's like you can see it coming from days away. And this time, I mean, they were really forecasting doomsday scenarios, and they don't usually do that, and they were saying that our area in central Louisiana was going to get whipped. And so there's always in the back of your mind, you're like, maybe it'll turn. I mean, it's a point where if it turns right or left 10 miles, it could make a huge difference. Yeah. But I'll tell you, in the last 10 years, I was here when I first moved here was when Katrina hit. And I grew up in this town, but when I got back from training and everything, Katrina hit that year. And they're much better at forecasting tracks than they used to be. I mean, they were right on it freaking from days out. So we're kind of used to it, but I do get more nervous as I get older about weather. My wife kind of laughs at me, but I do. And it is what it is. And I got a generator, and we prepare and do all the stuff we need to do, but it's still kind of sucks,
Yeah. I can't even imagine Katrina, man. Because I've been in that convention center you guys have down there for a conference, and I was there a year or two before Katrina hit.
Yeah.
So, and then I just heard about all the stories about what happened there and stuff. It's like, man, that's crazy. We didn't get Katrina too bad. What really impacted my community
was everybody had to get north. So there was no gas in our town for a week or 10 days. There was no food. I mean, I'm talking about, because everybody's coming north from New Orleans and from Lafayette, and they're just coming through our town. There's not a hotel room to be had. So it was, it's all that stuff. It compounds very quickly.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that's scary. Yeah, we don't have too much of that up here, thankfully. We have other stuff.
Yeah.
Tornadoes. We had in 2019, we had a tornado outbreak here in my hometown.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever been through something like that. Like seriously, like a series of, I think they got up to F3, maybe F4 level tornadoes. And it just wiped out like the whole side of our town. It was crazy. I drove over the day after and I was like, this is just nuts. I've never seen anything like this.
Tornadoes that's another thing. We don't get them too bad, but like East Texas, my wife's from Southern Oklahoma. She's from right in the middle of Tornado Alley. So that's just part of her life. But when I was in school in Waco in Texas, south of us, maybe between Austin and Texas and Waco, there was a humongous F5 tornado that took, I-35, it's a huge, like 4 lanes on each side between there. It took out a quarter mile of the interstate. I'm talking about just gone. The whole interstate was gone. The pavement was gone. It was just dirt.
Oh my God.
That's how strong this was. It was amazing. Yes.
Wow. That's terrifying.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It really is. Because, they can't predict those quite as well as like hurricanes. So, it's like all of a sudden they're like
a whole nother deal. Yeah.
Chance of severe storms coming, like, okay, no big deal. And then all of a sudden it's like, massive tornado outbreak and get shelter now. So I'm in the bathroom with my wife and my kids, and we have, we can hear the stuff going on outside. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bad.
Yeah, it's scary, man. It is, no doubt.
Yeah. So switching back to the I'm switching gears back now to the YouTube discussion.
Yeah.
So, I'm really curious, man. So, like being an MD like you, so how do you find time to? You have to be so busy. How do you find time to do all this stuff, dude? All your filming and everything.
I make time. I guess it's one of those things where my wife will say that the YouTube's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I am like a major busybody, and I've gone over the years between I'm really into this, or really into that, really into this. And I'm also pretty OCD. I'm pretty organized, and having something to focus all that energy into has been awesome, So I have certain strategies to get it done. I used to do one video a week, and that was hard enough. And then like 2 years ago, I bought a case of 24 MREs, and I'm like, I'm going to do MRE reviews. So I thought, well, those are easy to do. I'll just do those every Friday. So I started doing videos twice a week, one regular video, one MRE video. Well, then, your numbers start to get better, and you're like, well, this is working pretty good. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week. I can't do that live, because my life is way too hectic. So what I have come up with is that like 2 or 3 times a year, I take off. I go off to Arkansas, usually is where I'll go to the Ouachita Mountains. I'll rent a house by myself usually I'll get there Friday and come back Tuesday or something. I'm off on Tuesday. So I'll take off like a day and a half, and I'll just shoot like 20, 25 videos. Because I do a lot of review videos. A lot of my videos are review videos. And what I found is I can do all those review videos. I plan them all out. I have all the scripts done. I got everything. It's like I spend 2 months planning everything, and I just pop them out. I just get them all done. And then what I'm able to do is sprinkle those in along with some live videos as I go along. If I go for a hike or I do some bushcraft cooking or whatever it is. So it's a nice little mix, and that allows me to take the pressure off and find the time, because otherwise, look, I got a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old. My wife and I've been married for 23 years, and I'm busy. I'm busy. But if I sit, and that's what's killing me right now. I don't have a shop. I have nowhere to go. I'm just dying. So you make time, and for me, I've made it because I enjoy it. I enjoy the process of getting to try out gear. I enjoy the process of learning filming and editing, which is something I've never done before. And I definitely know I have a long ways to go, but it's a lot better than my first videos. And I enjoy that aspect more. And it honestly, it kind of keeps me sane. It gives me that outlet that I need, because my day-to-day job is stressful. It can be very frustrating dealing with the government and insurances and just a lot of sadness in general, people dying. I take care of people long-term as their internists. So you need something, and there's nothing better than being able to just zone out, playing a video about some stove or, whatever, just truthfully meaningless stuff, right? A lot of just fun stuff, and shooting a video about it. And it's great.
Well, your hard work is definitely paid off, man, because your channel is really grown.
It's hard, I guess, sometimes to see as it's growing, to think, because, you would think, boy, if I got to like 100,000 subscribers overnight, that would be a big growth. But it has really grown. In the last year, it has really done well, without question. I had a couple of very big videos that made a huge difference. And, getting 1 or 2 big videos a year is huge for YouTube growth, huge for growth. So, and it's never the videos you think will be the one. But you don't complain. You just take what it is. And those big videos, you gain tons of subscribers, you gain tons of views. And it's like your channel goes up in these blocks. It may go up some, but once you hit a block, it seems like you stay there. And then you hit another block and you stay there. And it's pretty cool. So I think that all the work I put in, I probably would not continue to do it as much if you didn't see that growth,
Yeah.
It's not about, you know how much money you make on YouTube. You don't make any money on YouTube. No. I certainly make a whole lot more money in my office here than I do on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a big difference.
It's an escape, and it's fun. I'm to the point now with my channel where it pays for itself. All the gear I buy is paid for by the channel. I don't have to worry about spending, quote, family money on another stove. And it kind of opens things up, and it's a lot of fun, because I just, my channel is just for me, and I buy whatever I want, and, within the budget, but it allows me to keep checking out cool stuff. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think I pretty much hold the award for the slowest growth over the time of much. I think I've had my channel for like 7 years now, and I still haven't even broken 3,000 subscribers. So, but it, like you said, it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. And in the beginning there, I didn't put that kind of work in. Just now, finally getting to that point.
And I do have plans. I'm not doing this just for. I do want to grow this to a sustainable level, because, look, the one thing about medicine is that when you stop practicing medicine, right, you stop making any money. Because you only make money by seeing patients. There's a lot of businesses that maybe, you have people underneath you doing stuff, or you have a business and you own it and you retire and it doesn't happen, So I look at YouTube as something that hopefully I can grow over time. And when I retire, it can give my wife and I a little supplemental income to travel, do whatever we want. And it feels something a little more organic, like it's something I built myself versus just my medical practice that I built myself, but it's very different. It's very, very different.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely nothing to sneeze at, man. The medical practice. I have a lot of friends and family in the medical field. I am not, but man, the amount of work that you have to put in to get to the level where you are, especially. Yeah.
It takes a while, but you know what? You can be successful in any business. And people look at a physician and they think, oh man, he's got such a hard look. A lot of people work really hard just to succeed. Whether you're seeing patients or you're building houses or you're putting in septic tank. It's hard work. There's very few people that just are successful without working hard. It's just my business is a certain type of business, but I take care of people that work their tails off and succeed just the same. So it's a rewarding job, but I always tell people I don't think it's any different than anybody else's job. It really isn't.
That's cool. Well, I'm very appreciative of people like you who are there to do that. For sure. So, so my next question is,
Sure.
you were talking about, I think you mentioned stoves. So you have a whole playlist on just stoves. So I went back and watched some of your videos. How did you become such a stove connoisseur?
You know what? I don't know, man. I guess it just started small, and like in the last couple years, I like the concept of stove testing. Most anybody who knows anything about stoves knows Hiram Cook. Hiram Cook had kind of the OG stove channel 10 years ago, and he was very precise, and he'd measure everything and exact, temperature, water. And so I watched a lot of his stuff, and I started to kind of emulate, not to that degree. And there's something about, like I said, my little OCD that's like, I ask all these silly questions to myself, like, well, what would this design really make a difference? Or, boy, does this really, I get all excited about, oh, this one used 4 grams of fuel versus, 7 grams of fuel, and the funny thing is, people love it. I mean, there's tons of people. I laugh at the kind of running joke is that we watch water boil, and I'll have 10,000 people tune in to watch me boil, 12 cups of water, with 6 different stoves, and it's like, I don't know what it is, but people love it. So one of the reasons, obviously, that I do it is it's a very popular genre in my channel. People love the stove videos. It's some of my best performing videos, and I love it. So works out. And then once you start collecting stoves, I mean, you're basically done. You've got so many different types. And then my subscribers, they feed my problem, because they'll be like in the comments, have you tried this stove? Or have you tried this stove? And I'm like, oh, no, I haven't tried that stove. So I go search it. And then, like this one I just ordered, I'm looking at it. It's called the Otzi Stove. It's freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Otzi Stove, but look at that, OTZI. It's on order. I can tell you that right now. It is so cool. And it was just from the live stream the other day. And I wrote down a couple of different stoves, and I saw that one. I mean, I just looked at it. I was like, I got to buy this stove, So it's like this feeding. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to do a review on as many stoves as I can. That's kind of become my thing, one of my things. When I started YouTube, the reason that I did it was because I would look for certain videos and I couldn't find them. And I said, this is the kind of information I want to know. I want to know this. At the time we had an RV. I want to know this about the RV, these specifics. And I knew that people out there were interested in probably similar to stuff I was into. So I started by making videos that I thought, this is what I want out of this video. And that's where the stoves came from, because people want to watch stove videos. They want to watch the details. They want to know the times. They want to know the fuel efficiency, and they want to know it in a decent amount of time. And they want to know it in a decently told story, like not just like these random shots and dark, they want it to look nice. So you can make some really nice little stove videos. And I'm getting close to 100 in the playlist.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty. And I've got so many planned. Oh, it's crazy. I got so many new stoves that have not even hit the air yet.
So I was just talking to my buddy Chris for That Hiking Guy channel.
Oh, yeah.
And he was telling me, he's like, thanks a lot. He said, thank Ernie for me for making me buy the Jetboil stash. He's like, I wasn't going to buy another Jetboil.
He was hard in on the Jetboil stash. So he was writing me being like, dude, how did you get it?
Mm-hmm. So what's your final verdict on that? It looks like pretty good.
I know people will look at it. So people that don't know, Jetboil reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to get it. I got it about 3 or 4 weeks before it was even launched, and they're not even shipping till another couple of weeks. And people are going to look at it and they're going to say, oh, you're just going to talk good about it. I'll tell you, I think it's a good stove. I mean, I really do. It does exactly what they said it should do. There's a lot of benefits. I've owned a Jetboil flash for years and I love it, but I never took it places because it's over, almost a pound, and when and it's bulky. I mean, it's big too, so not only does it weigh a pound in your pack, but it's this big canister, but they were able to make a 7.1, 7.3 ounce stove system with a pot that's a lot smaller, wider, still can boil 2 cups, which is important. I think it's important they kept that 2 cup capacity, and it works very quickly. I mean, it does. It boils 2 cups of water, 2.5, 3 minutes. Uses my video last week showed. I mean, compared to other other pots, like for example, the Ernie 900 milliliter mug pot, it used twice as much fuel to get 2 cups of water to boil in that mug pot versus the jet boil with the flux ring on the bottom. So I like it. I do. I think it's very nice. It's $130, so it's pretty expensive. Yeah. But that is pretty much in line with how much the jet boils cost. If you look at the different types and stuff, and people, you know how comments are. I mean, the immediate comments are, that's crazy expensive. That's way too, look, they're going to sell millions of these things. Oh, yeah. And it's going to be huge. It just is, because it's what people have wanted from jet boil for a while. A lighter weight, similar function stove. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you think about, if you buy all those quality components together, you're going to spend that much anyway, really. So,
yeah. I'm going to do another video coming up looking at the stash, right? Versus the BRS titanium, which is a $13, $14 stove, and maybe the Toke 750, which is maybe $30. So you got a $50 cook kit. And then I'm going to look at it with, say, the Pocket Rocket 2 or the Soto Windmaster. Those are, $40 to $50. And the Ernie 900 milliliter mug pot's about $50. So $100. So, 50 versus 100 versus 130. And look at how they work, look how quickly they boil water and how much fuel they use, and maybe have a better idea of, is it worth that $130? Or if you go cheap and you get the BRS, I can tell you what the results are going to be, but we'll paint it out on the channel.
Wait till the video. Yeah. I've never owned a jet boil stove, honestly, but I've been so jealous because I've had friends who've taken them out. And I'm like, man, they're like done. And I'm like,
I bought it. I always hesitated because of the price. I mean, honestly, I'm like, man, it's $120. Now, these days, I'm not as hesitant about the price because, like I said, my channel pays for these stoves, so it doesn't bother me. But I actually got my flash at Academy, which is a sporting goods store, for $50 on clearance. When I saw it on clearance, I'm like, I'm buying it. And so I probably would have never bought it if it was $110, $120. But it's worth it. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool stove.
Yeah. So I think you convinced me to pick one up.
It's all about what you want. If you want something that's small and that boils water fast, if you are worried about getting back on trail quick, stopping, eating, getting your stuff done, it cools off really fast. The titanium stove cools off in a minute. It's crazy. So you can get stuff done and get on the road. And if those are the things that matter to you, and then you look at, like I said, 4 grams to cook of fuel out of a 100-gram canister versus 7 or 8, I mean, you're saving half the fuel. So everything, how it is. Everything about backpacking and ultralight backpacking is about convenience, because we can go to Walmart and we can spend $150 on a complete kit. It's going to weigh a bunch, but we can go. You can go. You can do it. Right? It's just not going to be as comfortable or convenient. And so if you're looking for convenience and quality, I think it's worth it.
You did a video on ultralight, speaking of ultralight. So you talked about that. Can you tell us what your thoughts are on ultralight? Like, is that a big deal to you, or?
It is. It's a big deal. I mean, I'll put it this way. Staying lightweight is important to me. As you get older, I can tell you, I've experienced this. You go on a trip, 2-night trip. You've got 35 pounds on your back. Or you go on a 2-night trip and you've got 18 pounds on your back. You have a lot more fun with 18. I mean, you just do. And as you get older, because I'm not 18 anymore. I'm 43 years old. You feel it. So ultimately for me, ultralight is a way to continue to enjoy something that I truly enjoy, because if I'm going to go out and backpack at this stage in my life, I want to have fun. and I want to be comfortable. And I'm not all about torturing myself and, not having, but at the same time, I think you do have to be smart about it. And, you can go down this rabbit hole of trying to shave every single ounce. And my OCD nature just falls right into that. I'm like, ooh, I could get that and I could save, that's like 4 ounces, So it's finding the happy medium. So I've learned that kind of the weights that I'm comfortable carrying and that allow me to be comfortable. And, the other thing is, I don't film everything. I go on trips where I don't film. I go on trips with my kids where I don't film, because I do more outdoors than what I film. You know how that is. People think if you're not filming it, you're not doing it. I think ultralight's important. I think you can get carried away, but it is important to me. Yeah. For those reasons, I want to stay.
Do you think YouTube has helped or hurt in that area? Do you think it's there's like a peer pressure kind of thing now? Like there's so many people pushing this. There's a lot of channels that you go out there and they've got thousands of dollars worth of Dyneema gear, and they're just like, man, that's great. But not everybody can do that. And
right.
I don't want that, for me personally, I don't want that to hinder people's getting outside by any means, because it's not a gear competition.
Yeah, I think it can. I mean, I look back at my first real backpacking kit probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I had an Osprey Kestrel. I mean, that thing probably weighed 5 pounds.
That was my first one too.
Yeah, and it was a great pack, and I loved it. But yeah, now I'm using a Z-Pax, Arc Zip, which is a lot more expensive, but I take really good care of it and I enjoy it. I think that it all depends on the type of person you are and the kind of confidence you have in yourself. I think you got two people. You got those ultralight, like you said, thousands of dollars. Then you got the other people like, I carry 80 pounds and it doesn't bother me at all, Okay, good for you, But I think YouTube's helped backpacking. I do. I think in big picture, I think that you're always going to have people chasing the gear. I'm sure at some point in your life you've chased it. I've chased it. You get hooked on these certain things you think will make a huge difference. But in general, you see these people out there hiking, young people, they're seeing these amazingly beautiful places. People are able to put together videos that show off the location. And I think people getting outside is the whole point to me. And I think people, everyday people on YouTube going out and doing things spurs other everyday people to go do it. And so I think that's why it's really helped. The details of the ultralight and over popularizing or making the ultralight mentality something that's probably a little overboard. You're right. I think some people take it too seriously, but I think that those people still have a role. And like I said, what I really preach to my patients or to anybody is just get outside, just get away from the hustle and the bustle. And, you see people like Dixie or Darwin, and they do these long trips. I can't do that. I got a job, I got to put kids through college. But then you see other people like Hiking Guy or just everyday people who are doing this stuff for fun. And you think, when I get stuck at home and I'll start watching YouTube, I'm like, I got to go get outside. I got to go do something. These people are having too much fun, I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the whole thing has exploded over the past few years. Because when I first started my channel, there was hardly any other. It was really hard to find outdoor channels that existed. I think I followed a few that don't even exist anymore.
One of the only ones that I remember, like old school, the one Syntax 77. I mean, I think he's been around for pretty long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there weren't a lot of people, it all kind of came together at once,
Yeah. And so now we have tons of channels, which I think is really cool. At first I was like, I don't know how I feel about all these channels coming out, but it's really cool because you get all these different perspectives. people from all over the place and just doing different kinds of hikes and different kinds of gear. And I think it's really cool.
I agree. I do think you hit on one thing is just, I think there's a lot of peer pressure. And I think that people who are kind of farther along in life, like, Spaguyver and, people that we're settled in life, right? You're settled in life. So you do your channel the way you want to. You don't worry about other people. You're just doing it for fun. And that is encouraging. I think a lot of people may stay away from it because they feel like they have to keep up with other people, or, well, if I'm not hiking the PCT, then why even have a channel? Nobody wants to see me hike at the local park. And I would encourage everybody, just do it. Just have some fun. Don't be a YouTuber because you think you're going to be the next PewDiePie, because that's just not going to happen. Or if it does, good for you. But there's a handful, probably on my hand, of outdoor YouTubers who make a living doing it. A good living, I should say. You can scrape by, but,
right.
So, just get out there and do it. Don't listen to the negative. Like you said, don't be discouraged because you can't afford the Dyneema, tarp. I used a freaking blue Walmart tarp for a year. And it worked fine. Now I love my hammock gear tarp. It's great, but you can do with anything, and I think that's cool about your channel. It's cool about a lot of our channels is that we're like trying to just be inclusive and say, just do it, and that's why my channel, I review, $12 stoves or $150 stoves, because as you get into it, you spend more money, but you need to start somewhere. In this day and age, you see it. 5 or 6 years ago, even, it costs a lot more money to put together a decent weight pack. Now you really can do a pretty decently weight pack for a decent amount of money, So go out there and do it.
Yeah. That's my thing. I've always tell everybody, I will keep doing the YouTube thing as long as I enjoy it. And I don't ever want it to overtake the experience of why I'm out there in the first place, because the whole point is to be outside.
Exactly. And that's like I said, I don't always film because you lose it,
Yeah. I do the same thing. I take my kids out, we do hikes and stuff, and I don't film that because that's a special moment for us. And
well, they'll demonetize you too. There's a kid, if there's a freaking kid in your video, you're done.
Right. Exactly. It's like YouTube's become a very different place now.
I have videos early on in the channel with my kids. We'd go out, we would bushcraft, we'd start a fire, we'd grill steaks over the fire, and hilarious stuff. And it's kind of cool for me because they were so young and I can go back and look at those. Yeah. But it's funny. Like, I don't know, do you follow Wrangler Star at all?
Yeah.
Channel Wrangler Star. Yeah. It's like we've seen that kid, Cody, grow up.
Right.
It's like he's all of a sudden like this almost adult, and it's pretty cool. I could do the same thing on my channel. Look at my kids. So, it's if it ever gets to be a burden, I'd probably stop too.
Yeah.
But you got to just keep it. You got to keep it got to keep it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just, you were talking about, not having time to, it's like, I'm the same way. It's like I work, I'm a IT manager, so I'm always on call. It's really hard. I can't plan anything more than like a 2 or 3 day trip. That's my thing. I keep telling my wife, it's like, I've been talking about this for a while. So I'd like to do the AT, or like a long trail, PCT, AT, one of those, when my kids turn 18. And that's something I'm kind of, depending on how my body is at that point, because that's what, they're 12 now. So 6 years away. So, but
I'm the same. I want to do the PCT. That's the one I want to do. And what I hope to do is once my kids kind of get through college, I think I want to try to hike the John Muir Trail and kind of get a feel for the mountains and see, because look, I'm from Louisiana, see if I can survive. And I have no idea whether I could hike it or not. I could try, but yeah, my wife knows that. It's definitely something I want to do. It's going to be when I retire. but it'll be early on when I retire, so I can try to do it and get it out of my system and see if I can do it.
Have you done any hiking out west?
No, I mean, just like day hikes, out in Yellowstone and stuff like that. I had a trip planned, for a 3-night trip planned in Yellowstone. I had permits and everything about 3 years ago. And we were going with my father-in-law, but then he got sick and we couldn't go. And so that was a big bummer. In fact, my daughter was going to go with me, which was going to be pretty awesome. But, and we were talking earlier about having time. One of the things that YouTube has done, which I think is a negative for me, is that, if I take 3 days off, 4 days off, and I've got, I can either go and shoot one trip video or I can go and shoot 15 other videos. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of those things where I'm like, I got to make videos. Right. And I know that shouldn't be the attitude, but look, my subscribers expect 2 videos a week, and I want to try to do that for them. And I have a lot of things I want to do. So it has cut back on my trips because if I go and I do a trip, I'll usually do an overnighter, and that way I'll have another couple of days to shoot more videos and stuff. So it has affected, I think, that negatively, but I still get in the time and the downtime that I need either way.
Oh yeah. And dude, sometimes the best experiences are just going out on like that little day trip somewhere, some beautiful place you've never been before, and making some coffee out there and just, absolutely. I mean, that's been some of the best experiences over like absolutely. 5-day long trips.
Absolutely. Just a day where, and it could even be sometimes a 3-hour trip is like the best 3 hours you ever had. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, I needed that so bad, So yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to do more of that. I haven't gone to work physically in over a year now. So I've been working from home the whole time.
Wow.
And because when I used to go to work, I would make time to take breaks, right? So I would, lunch, I got an hour, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to go to this local nature preserve, take a walk, whatever. And I don't do that when I'm at home. I for whatever reasons, I don't know if I feel guilty or I don't know why, but I don't. I'll work 11, 12, 13-hour days and be like, I haven't left my seat in 6 hours.
How old are your kids?
My kids are 12. I have twins.
So, you feel the same as I do. You go somewhere and you feel guilty. Mm-hmm. You feel guilty for leaving them behind. I do, at least, and my wife and both my kids like, go, do what you need to do. It's good for you. And you still feel like, like a kind of like a deadbeat dad, like, oh, I should take them. Or so, yeah, the pressures are interesting. And I can imagine being home like that all the time. That's hard.
It is. Yeah.
It sounds so cool when you first start. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm home all the time. But at some point you're like, man, I need some adult time outside of this house,
Yeah, it really, it did sound great at the beginning. I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And now I'm just kind of like, man, this is rough.
So what's the outlook? Do they think you'll get back into the office at some point? They're not going to make this permanent?
I really don't know. I don't have a date, because I work for a college, it's maybe 20% of our student body is going on campus.
Gotcha.
And everything else is remote. They can do classes remotely, everything so easily now. My office is
same though, it's just not the same. I hate it, but
it's not the same. And a lot of our students are, having trouble with it because some people just can't learn in that kind of environment. So it's tough on everybody. But my area, we're in a basement. And I have a team of 6 developers that work for me. So, it's very close quarters. And until everybody is vaccinated and all that's in place, I don't see them sending me back.
Yeah. Well, it's better safe than sorry type thing,
Yeah. But it's one of those things where you just kind of have to make time, like just force yourself. Okay, I need to get up. And it's really been hard here in the winter, especially the last last couple of weeks, and I think the next several weeks are just going to be terrible Like I can't even go outside for a while. So my wife and I, we just bought a treadmill. Yeah, really nice one. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to do 3 miles on the treadmill. At least I'm moving. I'm doing something with my body, you know, and not just being a blob.
It's kind of the opposite here for us. Like, it's like the heat of summer where I'm like, I'm not going outside. Like, I'm just not going to be, it's just so hot. The rest of the year is great. There's like 3 months of the year where like all my videos are shot in my shop because I'm like, it is too freaking hot to get out. So it's the opposite, you know. It looks beautiful outside, but you just look outside, you start sweating, you know.
It's funny because I have some good friends who live in Florida, and you know, it's like, oh, it's so hot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Ohio though. You know, it's like, it's great for me. I come down there, I'm like, oh man, I love it.
Yeah, it is interesting. The difference in the areas and the climates of America are very, very interesting for sure. When I was training in Massachusetts, I mean, I hear what you're saying. In the winter, I'd get to the hospital before light. I'd leave after dark, and I'd be like, I'd go like a month and like hardly see the sun. You know, it can get pretty brutal.
I'll tell you that the hottest place I think I've ever been was Dallas, Texas.
Oh yeah, Texas.
That was horrible.
Yeah, where I went to school, Waco is about 60 miles south of Dallas. So my brother used to come visit, and he said that you didn't realize it, but as you drove closer to Waco, you actually were just steadily going up. And by the time you got there, you were like just a mile from the sun, you know. It's just like totally, I mean, it was so hot. Yeah, it is crazy. Dallas, DFW area is hot.
Dallas. Yeah, let's say my wife would say Vegas was the hottest place. She kept complaining about Vegas. We went there in our honeymoon.
Heat though, that's like a dry heat. You know, Dallas is that hot 100 degree humidity heat like we have here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my wife. She kept saying when we were there on our honeymoon, we were there in September. It wasn't even that hot, but she's like, it felt like the sun is like on my head. Like, she's like, it's so hot here. And I was like, it's not that bad.
Come visit in July.
Yeah, man. We were in New Orleans in April of 2019, and it was pretty warm then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always pretty warm here. You know, this is the nice time of year right now. That's my brother back there. It's a nice time of year because it's, you know, it's consistently in the, you know, winter for us is mid 40s to mid 50s. You know, that's really, and at night it'll dip down into the 30s. But this is the time, and that's another reason it stinks right now, because normally this is when like I am out shooting videos, but I'm just too busy with work, COVID. I have no shop. The woods are blown down. You know, it's like everything's going wrong here. So like I'm just planning on my live stream the other night. They're like, "When's your next overnighter?" I said, "Honestly, it's probably gonna be next year." I mean, I don't know when I'm going to do it. I'm not going to have time to do it between now. You know, I wanted to go on an overnighter, but all my gear is in plastic crates in a storage unit because it all had to get out of my shop. And they're just piled high. I mean, to find all the gear I'd need, I didn't have the foresight to say, I'm going to pack everything I need for an overnighter into one bag. We're just getting stuff out of there. Yeah. I'm not even mess with it. I mean, you know, I'd rather almost just buy all new gear at this point to take out than to try to find all that stuff. So I don't think I'm going to be doing any overnighters till after summer.
Oh
yeah. Is what it is.
Yeah. I know, it's life gets in the way.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be pretty awesome. This new shop is going to be really cool. I'm going to make a very specific YouTube studio for all my gear, and I'm really going to try to build it out so it really displays the stoves and really makes it a cool environment to film in. So I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see that. Because you have another channel, right? You have a woodworking channel? Yeah, I have it's called PaleoMakerMD. And it's very small, but it is going to grow. Yeah, I love woodworking, wood turning, that aspect, DIY stuff. And I used to put a little bit of that stuff on this channel, but as you know, if you throw content into a channel that doesn't have anything to do with the other content, it just tanks and it ruins your numbers and all that stuff. So I kind of threw that PaleoMakerMD together about a year ago. I have maybe 5 or 6 videos on there. but it's going to grow a lot, I think, once I get in the new shop, because I'm going to film everything that has to do with getting the shop together. I've never had a dedicated, real functional wood shop. I have one now, but it's small and I have to move stuff around everywhere, but I'm going to make a much bigger one. And it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And what I'll do is on my regular videos, on my regular channel, you know, I might say, look, here's, you know, let me show the shop, say, hey, this is a shop, this is what I did. If you want to see how I made it, then go over to my other channel type thing. So people can see it, because I have a lot of interests that I don't film because they don't fit in with hiking. But making is a very inclusive title. I can make anything. So that's kind of the point of having it like that. Kind of like Bob Saget's, I like to make stuff. He could do anything, you know. Right. And that's why he chose the name, and I kind of did the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Really looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Trust me, so am I. It's too wet right now to put a foundation, and we have to. Our house technically is in a flood zone. Our house sits well above it, and obviously this shop was above catastrophic flood zone, and it flooded. So I'm going to build it up about 5 or 6 feet from where it is now. So we're going to bring a lot of dirt in, put it way high, so I don't have any problems. And I can also include it under my homeowner's insurance then too, because it'll be, you know, above the flood zone. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Well, man, we've been going for about an hour, so I think we could probably wrap it up there, man. But hey, thanks so much for coming on. I really
absolutely, man. I hope I wasn't too boring.
No, this is awesome.
It's cool, because one of the things I love about YouTube is that, you know, hardly any of us are YouTubers. You know, I mean, you're an IT guy. You know, I'm a doc. I mean, we have lives, and this is kind of like our little niche area where we get to come just kind of dork out about the things that we like. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to meet people like you. Meeting the people I've met on YouTube has been the best part of doing it. Believe it or not.
I agree. Absolutely. That's the whole reason. One of the whole reasons why I love doing it.
Yeah.
The relationships I've made. For sure.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. If you ever come up to Ohio for, I don't know what reason you will, but if you want to do some hiking.
In Ohio. I spent a little time in Ohio before. So
it's a pretty boring state, I'll tell you that. But we have a lot of backpackers in Ohio for some reason.
Well, you have a lot of great places to go, it seems like, or at least you're close enough to be able to get to some pretty nice places east or west of you. So
yeah. Usually I'm going south to Kentucky or northeast to Pennsylvania or to West Virginia. We have options. We have lots of options. So.
Yeah, very good.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks again. And I will talk to you soon, man.
Cool. Absolutely. Let me know if you need anything. Whenever I get those new patches, I'll send you both. I'll reach out to you on email, get your address. I'll send them both to you.
Sweet, man. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.